If you've ever wondered what it takes to design an event that people never forget, not just because how it looked, but because how it made them feel, this episode's for you. Welcome to Elite Insights, where we elevate vision, amplify voices, and engage with purpose. Today, I'm joined by Alex Martin, owner and event strategy lead, and Mirabai, event producer and strategy lead at Synchronicity Events. Hello, ladies. How are you guys doing?
Hey, Carlos. Really good.
Did I get that right?
Mm-hmm. Mine, no, but that's okay.
I will. I will redub it myself until I get it right. But we will get there together. And in the spirit of together, that's part of the reason why you guys are here. We've had the joy of working together on a myriad of events, and I always like to kind of start off with kind of that your earliest memory of working with the Elite Collective or Carlos Imani, and just kind of start that journey of what led us to the couch today. What if we go in that way back machine, what do you guys first remember?
Yeah, I remember in the summer of 2021, so we were just coming back to a couple of...
We were outside
for safety, and we were doing a festival at Seattle Center called Taking Black Pride, and it was wonderful performances, music, dance, food. It was, and a group had said, hey, we're going to have a live streamed, so for folks who aren't ready to come back out yet or can't come out, they can watch from home, and that was the first time I was aware of your group. And I think of that when we're, now we do all these in a fancy hotel ballroom. We bring your team in, but the first memory I have is just like this hot day, hot on the grass in the cement at Seattle Center. Right, everyone working so hard
in the middle of summer. Yeah. No, that was a fun one, and it was like almost exactly what the city needed, coming out of COVID. Mm-hmm. It was like we're literally outside, we're distanced and we have our masks, but we get to be around, right? And that we get a little bit of that energy back. And to see you guys do your thing was awesome because, we're coming in as a component of and being around events. It's like, it's always one of those things where I always call it like it's just kind of this managed chaos and this whole thing of, having a plan, knowing when and how to pivot. But if you don't have that driving force, you're literally setting yourself up for failure. So seeing you guys in action, I think that was obviously for us, first time working with you guys as well. And then it was like literally, I don't know if it was by chance, the universe or whatever, but every event after that, it was like email, like, oh, it's Alex. Oh, it's Mira. It's like, seeing a lot of those same things pop up and seeing how many other seeing that synergy, for lack of a better word, of different clients that were able to service from different sides, but been able to bring that together. It was awesome to see. But I'd love to dive in a little bit more into your guys' origin story on kind of how, what basically kind of started you or inspired you to start Synchronicity Events.
Well, I guess that's a question for me. It's I have been working in Seattle and helping nonprofits throw successful events for actually 26 years, just me as an event planner first. Wow. With another business I was part of. Met Mira, we were working together, and then there came a point in about 2018, 2019 where I really wanted to start Synchronicity as a new business just to serve the nonprofit client specifically, because my previous business had done weddings, corporate, yada, yada. And I was like, no, I've only got so many years left in my career. I want to really give all the attention and all the focus to the events that I feel the most purposeful, the most joyful, the most meaningful work. And so yeah, we are really here to bring as you say, we want to manage the chaos. We want to meet the goals. We want to make sure that those events really serve the communities that they're destined to serve, and move us forward together. Yeah.
I love that. Did you want us to jump in?
Oh,
go ahead.
I feel like Alex really said everything. That I don't know what to add to that, Alex. That was really great.
No worries. I just saw a face of expressions and want to make sure I always create space if you do. So feel free to jump in or cut me off at any point. And I love what you're saying in terms of I have had previous conversations on this couch about really finding alignment, finding joy, and that's the word joy has really been kind of stuck with me lately in terms of kind of redefining and wanting to live enjoy. And then for me, that's kind of with alignment, and like you speaking about what you've done on the event planning side was literally a mirror to me on the production side of where I've shot weddings, I've done the corporate stuff. And again, they pay, they come with their own things, but it's like, what does it leave you with, right? We only get 24 hours in a day. And if we're going to give so much of that outside of our home, outside of our loved ones, like my wife says, like, you better be making money if you leaving, because you ain't leaving for nothing. But it's like, what does that leave you with? And if you can leave in that same 12 hours that you were going to spend doing any event, but you get to leave it knowing you made a difference or seeing how it affects the people in that room, is so special. And it's like, we've definitely made a shift in an alignment of wanting to serve mission-driven organizations. So I love that we get to, and that's probably why we get to work together so often, is we are aligned in the types of clients that we want to serve. So that's awesome to see us having very similar journeys, and it's not for everyone for sure, but for folks that do have like a big empathy is just a part of their being. It's like being able to pull that kind of energy from a space is awesome.
One of the things that I really appreciate about the types of events we do and the types of clients that we serve is that aspect of creating something bespoke for each client, where their event, they leave their event. And my dream is you leave your event, you go to brunch the next Tuesday, if it was a weekend event, whatever, because hopefully you took the Monday off. Just you go and you tell people, like, it felt like us. That felt like us. That felt correct. And it's cool that we get to engage in being chameleons in many ways, because it wouldn't necessarily be my vibe. It wouldn't necessarily be Alex's vibe. And I like the idea that you feel the organization is us and the support is us, but everything else, like the mood, the vibes, the music, the decor, the people, are all our clients.
No, I love that. And that's a unique ability. A lot of times people will kind of come in and almost kind of bulldoze in a sense, right? Where it's like, hey, we do it. This is how you do events. Here's our checklist, and here's how we do it. And we've been on the other side of working with folks. But the fact that you guys, you do a lot of just like listening. Like, I've been on some of those initial meetings with you guys, and how you'll lead a conversation about tell us about you. It's not about what we do. It's more of what we can do for you. And a lot of it is just like the listening. I've learned that a lot from you guys is you can go so much further, because you have, obviously you have your ideas, you do have your checklist. I mean, you're going to need a venue, you're going to need some kind of food, you're going to need some kind of entertainment.
A couple things.
Yes, but it needs to start with the why and the vibe, and kind of getting that from your client, and leading with that. And then, you definitely, like, every time I walk into one of your guys' rooms, it's like, yeah, this feels like that client, and I'm, going from the stumble throughs and stuff of like hearing what they're going to be sharing and how it's going to go through, and then just kind of how you guys be able to pull it all together, because it's a lot of times we're like an aspect of, so it's really cool to see the rest of it, and it's just like, yep, that all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. I am here for it. Because there's sometimes, again, we walk into spaces that have a little bit less controlled and a lot more chaos. And it's just like, okay, I just want to know this outlet works. And if I can turn this computer on to run your program, and I'll start with that as a win. But no, that's awesome. You shared a little bit about your shift, right, from corporate and weddings, and you did that as well, but a shift of focusing. And I wanted to kind of get in a little bit into kind of like that mission or that philosophy that kind of drove that approach. So it feels like it was a part of you the entire time, the 26 years. But like, what about that, made you kind of make that shift? And then how did you kind of make that the brand of Synchronicity, in terms of like, it's been a part of me the whole time, but this is the why, this is the now. Yeah. And this is what it is moving forward.
I mean, I think it was, like, as you just mentioned, the listening, but, listening year after year to what our clients needed and how they needed to be able to also evolve their event to meet the moment. And a nonprofit organization is always adjusting their mission and, learning new ways to deliver the services they deliver and deliver their mission. So every year is also new, right? So every client is unique, and also every year we're trying to meet them and tell the new story, and also create some memorable experience that's not just a copycat of last year's, Like we're trying to really make some novelty and some fun so that folks remember. But back to the reason in shifting, I think it was just really listening to all the things that nonprofit clients are asking for, which is very different from a corporate event planner or different from planning a trade show, very different from planning a wedding. We're listening for those specific slices of information that are going to allow us to book the right talent, to support in the right way, to have the right food, to have the right words in the script. So we are doing, trying to cover all the senses, sight and sound, of course, but also, is there a certain scent that we're going to smell in the lobby? Is there a certain, what's really the vibe that we're going to wrap around those guests so that they're having an amazing experience and meeting the goals that the organization has set. So setting goals is a huge part of what we do. Probably before you come on, Carlos. but one of the goals that we set with clients is, what is your intention around spending your event budget? Can we spend some of it in small local business, diverse owned business? That's a huge value for us, and luckily we share that value with a lot of our clients too. So being able to meet them on all those spaces is part of the joy.
No,
Yeah.
I love that. And that kind of leads into my next question around, like, how do you define success for an event? And then it's like beyond the logistics and timelines. But I know you talked about setting goals for clients, but then what are some of your goals that you kind of look to? Like, what does success look like?
Mira, you want to take that one?
Sure. One of the things, like you've been to some of our initial meetings, especially like we've got a client that we're like working on a lot together, which is so fun. But at those meetings, we try to like take the notes and then distill it. And some of the questions that we'll ask is like, really, like, what's most important? Because if you've got the things that the client says are mission critical to the event, are we honoring that through the entire planning and production process? Are we making sure that it shows up holistically in many ways during the show, before the show? Just like making sure that's all there. And then also asking them to be really honest with us about what worries them, and being able to like know that in advance so that you can really just like have that moment of like, okay, this is a thing that's worried. Let's address it. Let's not hide it. Let's not avoid it. Let's just come to it. And then I feel like it's live events. My personal measure of success is that there are 4 things that go wrong per person on my team at that event, because I know that I can do 4, Alex could do 4. If we have another teammate on site, they can do 4. And if it's like under that, because live events are just going to have some things that go wrong. And can you handle it? And do you handle it gracefully? And do the guests know? Did the client know? Like, there's all those things where can you just keep it smooth and roll with the things that need to change? Because I feel like if it goes wrong, it needed to go wrong. Let's find another way around it.
No, I love that. How about you, Alex? What does success look like for you?
I used to have, so every year I probably set for myself like a new benchmark. I remember years and years ago, I had a rule, which was because I had found myself just having lots of problems with drawing floor plans. If you're in events, you're often like sketching out, where do I want the tables? Where do I want the stage? And I found myself moving tables. Like they would be set up either in the wrong place or my drawing was wrong. So one year, this is years and years ago, I was like, okay, next season, I'm only gonna have to move one table. Like that, then I'll know that like I myself am growing my skills.
Right.
Yeah.
So we set little internal metrics for ourselves as planners. So we're always getting tighter and better at predicting what are those 4 things that are gonna go wrong. If I can know in advance, solve them in advance, then another 3 could surprise me, and they're even smaller details. We're finessing it. So that's kind of more of a question about our team. I think when I get to the end of the event and we're out in the loading dock, loading out, and the client is often there because as a nonprofit, they haven't left onto their honeymoon like some other types of clients. They're there with us loading their van. And if we can end the night with that big hug and we're like, you did it, we are so proud of you. And that kind of friendship that we grow, professional friendships over the years, I feel like that's another huge win. And that folks, now we've worked with some folks in like 4 different organizations as their career has grown and they've moved around town to different spaces. And anyway, that's a huge win as well. As the connections.
I love that.
Yeah.
And same type of deal. I find myself like the photo booth does not look good there. Let me go ahead and move that, and just different things there when you're on site after everything else. Because, you know, we walk into these bare rooms and, you know, we have grand imaginations of everything it could be. But then when it's in space and catering has set up this or that, I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? Well, we need this because that's next to our door. Like, oh, well, that makes sense. Now let's adjust. But, you know, those are the little things, like I said, the small problems. And you had mentioned, you know, do the guests know, right? And for us, it's always like, I always look at guest experience as the primary thing, because it's like it's the client of our client kind of a deal. That tends to be the biggest thing for our client is, can they, you know, do they have a good experience? So like you said, from the smell of whatever when you walk into the space, and do I feel seen, greeted, and all those things? Can I have something fun to do at a photo op or whatever? Is my food, you know, good, warm, you know, all those things, right? But again, those are, I think, minuscule, going to your point of that after thing. And I think for me, like you said, having that moment with the client where it's all done, adrenaline is starting to come down a little bit, and you're able to kind of have that shared embrace of like, we went on this journey together and we did the thing, right? And that's so cool. And what I've had the pleasure of these last couple of years is at least one client a season that this is their first gala, like them as a planning committee or whatever. Maybe they got a promotion at work or whatnot, but like literally like this is their first big event. And they had so much anxiety and pressure from the first meeting to now. And then to see them, you know, kind of light up and like, take a moment, look around, you did that. And them kind of coming into themselves is awesome, because it's, you know, we all, until we've done it, we've never done it, right? And we all have some sort of imposter syndrome, or, you know, should I be here? Am I good enough? And all that. But then to see them kind of grow within, because a lot of times they wear multiple hats. So they worked on the event right now, but then they probably do something else at the space. Yeah. But then you see them grow into themselves, right? Into their potential in their space, and they're able to just offer more to their org, to their community and whatnot. And it's a roundabout way where, yeah, it's just one night that we're helping with, but it's like a lot of like human development and relationship building and all these other soft skills that they're able to like grow with. And then, like you said, sometimes you end up working with them at multiple, you know, things, and watch them on their rise. And it's just kind of cool to see. But because you showed up and you were able to bring their voice to life, that they trust you at wherever they're at. They're like, no, I need to work with Alex, because Alex gets me, or gets the org, or gets what's going on. Mira is able to take my crazy idea and make it something that's functional in space that makes sense and works within 1 hour and 15 minutes of this program, because we're not going to have people here too long where they lose interest and all that stuff. And again, it's just that special thing of, you know, being able to herd cats and manage the chaos that you guys do eloquently. I love to see it. I love to be a part of it. And it's awesome that, because for me, that's just something I just never really even shared. It's just something that I just kind of, so to see someone else like, okay, yes, we have that collective kind of thing of like, man, that's what success looks like, to see them, you know, have a good time, to see those embraces and know that things can be possible, versus, like you said, of just, you know, well, weddings have their own kind of thing, but we'll use corporate as a thing where it's just like a thing, man. You just kind of do the thing, they present the thing's over. Half the people don't really care. They have to be there because it's work, you know, it's just like whatever. No, but then these other ones, it's like, you know, everyone in space, they are there for a reason, and it just matters. So that's awesome.
It is. I appreciate that. It is really good to be able to make better mistakes every year, but the focus on like what you loved, it's so easy to focus on the mistakes. It's so easy to focus on, oh, if we tweak this, but to like take that moment of being like, we loved this. This worked. This was great. And making sure that is part of the memory organizationally and like amongst the planning team is so, it's that, I love that part. That part feels so good.
More petals and thorns, right?
I don't know that there's more. I think that it's much easier to focus on the thorns. And if the petals don't come back and you're starting to think critically about your event, do you say the good stuff? And it's so important to say the good stuff, because like speaking it, especially into our kickoff meeting, is really useful in terms of helping make sure that we make it happen, or work as a team to hold ourselves accountable to that thing that we said we wanted to do, or that feeling we wanted to achieve.
No, I love that. I love that. And that takes us right, a great segue into our next little area of kind of going behind the scenes. And you kind of painted that in the end all at the loading dock, but just kind of taking us through an event that like you're especially proud of, that you might have popped up. So maybe something recently, even go back a couple years, but just want to hear about an event, and then we may can dive into what made that event special.
Mira, do you have one? This is hard.
This is really
We love
hard.
all our events so much, Carlos.
It's like a favorite. It's like having a favorite kid.
Baby. Yeah.
That's a really difficult question. I think I just have to pick one. I think we just have to choose one. All right, you pick one for me.
Oh my gosh.
I can pick one for both of you guys. Alex, what did you love about NOM's Unity event last year?
Yes, well, love having such a strong collaboration with Elite Collective, I have to say, because what is awesome about our work on that event is that the client has chosen to work with you and your team on so many elements. So we get this really cohesive picture where from the first moment the guest arrives, they're experiencing your step and repeat, which is just joyful, and they get to show off their fashion, and they get to feel that sense of elegance, and your team always does such a good job with that. And then you've also provided a photographer who's roaming and capturing the event, and capturing lots of special shots with the VIP. So it's like a whole experience as well. People sometimes think the photographer is just there to archive the event, but really having that presence in the room is another element of just, oh, this is a special night where we see that it's being recorded. And then your team doing the iMeg and the live camera in the room and the sound. I mean, we just had a whole wraparound experience. I think your team had also made the pre-recorded videos, and then you made a sizzle reel at the end. So it was like a whole Elite Collective situation. So that was, and we're going to do it again in a few weeks. So I'm super excited about that. But that group is wonderful to work with because they're very purposeful. They're choosing honorees to honor in that event from the community, and every year they choose one or two amazing people who have just done so much giving and so much stretching in the community, and bringing those people on stage is a real joy. And then they also have performers that are like next level, just the most talented, and usually visual artists that they're bringing in as well. So there's just a real deep understanding of like what's kind of at the front edge of art and performance and community. So I really enjoy being able to, I always learn a lot at that event. And that's another reason I continue to do this work, because you're never going to be bored. You're never going to have an event that was like, oh, that was boring, I didn't learn anything. Like that's never going to happen, because like our clients are always exposing us to just like, here's a whole new type of art that I haven't even seen before. And now I get to meet this artist and help them have a great experience speaking on stage and sharing. And anyway, that one, it's very special. It's a very special night.
The Northwest African American Museum as well is such a cool community. Like they've been around for a while. They've been together for a while, and they're here to support very cool art and artists, and getting the preview of what the next season is going to be early makes me feel super cool. Like I love, that was one of my favorite things. Like, oh, it's opening when? Cool.
Yeah, I will be there.
Be there. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And one thing that you mentioned about never being bored, another thing also, especially with that particular event with NOM, is you always see someone that's like 10 years older than you, no matter how old you are, doing 10 more things than you, and you're just like, how do you do all of that? Maybe it's the person they're honoring, right?
Yes.
It's like, wait, hold on, you had a day job, and then on your spare time you taught these kids and did all these things, and like, all right, what am I doing with my 24 hours? Or you hear about this 72-year-old woman that discovered painting, and or whatever it is, right? It's just like, it's just kind of cool to see just the diversity in thought and people and everything that they have going on. But you're definitely not going to be bored there for sure. Mira, what about Q Law last year?
Yeah.
Tell me about Falltacular. What did you love about that?
So many things. I love so many things about the Q Law Foundation. That was the first time we super collaborated together. So that event was a live event and a hybrid event, which was amazing. And one of the things that I love about that organization is their value on their fundraiser is they want it to go back to community. So they don't want to spend a lot of money. And one of the things that is very fun about a budget is that budgets require creativity. You have to be creative if you're going to make it happen. The other thing that I love about the Q Law Foundation event is their focus on accessibility. And especially because that was relatively early out of the pandemic. And because of the community they serve, you had people who could not attend. They, immunocompromised folks, like people who just couldn't be in the room. And to be able to partner with you to do a hybrid event where we were simultaneously sending out the stream and making the party in the room still feel good was such a fun challenge. And it's also 2 events. We did 2 events at the same time. The live captionings, that was stunning. And I got to meet your wife at that event, which is also very nice. I have this really cool memory of their event where we practiced this over and over in the rehearsal with the drag king, how they were going to come on stage, and like just to make sure that it hit that beat and I remember the energy in the room changing, and like I looked over at the screen and I saw that it was going out to the live stream and it looked cool, and the cameras were following that drag king around. People were laughing. Like that was so cool to like be able to see that energy spreading and that joy spreading everywhere. Plus, I believe they raised a nice amount of money, which always feels really good, especially for a nonprofit client that has a mission that is that important.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And like you said, it's one of those things where we get to like literally dive into all your creativity of like okay, how can I make this in-person experience awesome? Mm-hmm. And then how can I make this, at home, virtual experience awesome, right? And it's kind of that balance of, okay, if we have unlimited budgets, we can think of, unlimited ways, but it's like you said, I have this to work with. How can we make this happen? Mm-hmm. And then being able to do that. Cause for me, it's just one of those things where it's like a puzzle, like, all right, cool. Mm-hmm. Let's figure out this puzzle. Let's figure out how we can make this happen. And then to see it come to life. And again, that's another group that you're never going to be bored. Mm-hmm. No. From the personalities that they choose from entertainment to, the stuff that you experience from, I think they had tarot card readers. Yes. And, all the things that just make it interesting, and it made it them. Right. And you get to experience that.
Fashion was on point too.
Oh, always. Yeah. Chanois would never allow anything less than.
They would not. Absolutely not. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's awesome to see it come together and then have them reach their goals. Cause unfortunately that always doesn't happen, especially in this economic climate. Everything is not what it used to be. To still see people be able to navigate those spaces and be able to come out and find new ways to connect and engage with the community, because they're all doing such important work, right? Mm-hmm. We don't want the arts to go away. We don't want, the work that Q Law is doing around protections for vulnerable
clinics,
clinics, all the things,
activism, name changes. They do so many important things.
And it's like, all right, how can we help them get the support to do the work? So it's always a challenge, but a worthy challenge, and something that allows you to tap into that creativity. And I think when you get to flex those muscles, right, those creative muscles, you get so much more reward after it. Like, man, that was a bit of a headache a couple of those weeks where we were trying to figure some stuff out. But once we had that aha and we're able to communicate and come together in our event community to support this client, and then to see it happen, and then it's just like, oh, I feel so much better because of, right, and it just lasts. Like the to-go plates just taste better, and all the things, because I think they sent us home with some yummy food too.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. But all that, right? It just puts a nice little bow on it for sure. I love it. Next, I wanted to kind of go into as we kind of segue from being able to put on events and, things that are with the climate changing and things of that nature, and kind of figure out creative ways to help people. Alex, I think it might have happened right when I sent out the email of wanting to get you guys over here. I had saw something on LinkedIn of ways that you are connecting with community. If you want to kind of go into that a little bit of what you're doing, how you're kind of showing up for folks, and I think you're doing your own version of accessibility, right? Where it's like, hey, I got stuff to share, and I can meet you where you're at. If you wanted to
thank you
to dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, it's something that is super I mean, I love the work we do with the clients who have hired us for our full services, which is strategy, planning, production. Like, we do that. We love it. But we also have just gathered all this knowledge and insight and like technique over the years. And I want every event to reach the highest level it can, even if Synchronicity can't really be involved as a planner for whatever budget reason, timing reason. There's a lot of folks we're not going to work with this year. So I love to invite people. We have 3 opportunities. One is ongoing. It's called Genius at Work. And I get together, I facilitate it. So we get together on Zoom with who's ever available. And it can be anyone who's working as staff at a nonprofit. That's my one. I do limit it. I don't want other consultants there, and I don't want just, board members or kind of onlookers. I really want the people doing the work of the fundraising. And we get together and we just problem solve together. So it's a peer conversation. So, hey, what's your curiosity? What's your frustration? Is there anyone in the room who's already solved this? Let's work it out. And it's really fun. And I give my opinion, but I also love to hear all the stories that come in. I learn so much. So we do that every month, and folks can join, for $15 a meeting. If they're if they're not a Synchronicity client, our clients come for free. So it's just another chance for them to have another touch point with us and build community together. Cause I think it can be so isolating. You feel like you're the only person trying to solve this guest list problem, but guess what? There's 1,000 other people in town solving the same problem this week because there's so many events of this type going on. So it's like, no, you're not alone, honey. Come on in. Let's hear what your questions are. Let's figure it out. So that one's ongoing, and I love it. It's very energizing for me. And then we also do a couple of in-person events. One is called Event Fresh, and that's going to happen again in December. We were able to invite Elite Collective last year, and that is an awesome little showcase where we try to bring in small businesses in the events industry with diverse ownership and showcase them. And together we just pool all of our talents and make a really fun cocktail party and celebration at the end of the year. So December. No date yet. I'll keep you informed. And then in January, another really fun collective enterprise, which is called Nonprofit Events MiniCon. And that is another educational for the fundraising community. I have banded together with 3 other event planning companies in Seattle that also specialize in fundraising events, because nobody was doing an educational day for our clients. So we were like, well, let's just do it. Let's just we'll each bring a workshop. So we banded together, try to make it a really, really affordable experience for, again, nonprofit staff to come and ask those questions live, have workshop experience, networking, which is really, really important. And, sadly, nonprofits, especially small ones, they often don't send their staff to educational and networking opportunities. That's just something that doesn't make it onto the sheet sometimes. So to kind of make it affordable enough and welcoming enough that people can just, hey, I can just go to this. I can just show up and connect. Super meaningful to me. Those gives all those 3 things give me a chance to step outside of what we do all the time, which is, hey, we can sometimes feel like we're on the hamster wheel. We're just working our way through the calendar. And these are chances to collaborate, meet new folks, and expand our horizons, as well as sharing some knowledge.
And I love that. And it's like, it's one of those things where it starts with service, right? It's like, how can I better serve, more serve, differently serve the community as a whole, and just providing value. And I know it's working just from the comments on the LinkedIn, right? Where I'll like it and repost it and, get it out there. And then I'll get the little notification of oh man, it was so great. Thank you. Or, just seeing that like you said, people feel very isolated because, you're in your cubicle or you're in your office and, you don't have anyone else around, it could be a situation where, Tuesdays and Thursdays, no one else is in the office and you're there trying to solve a problem. But if you're able to jump on a Zoom and join a community that, is very like-minded in terms of service to community, right? Another nonprofit or something. And chances are either we've dealt with a client that had that same problem, or literally someone on this call went through this 2 months ago, and here's how they got through it, right?
And they didn't get through it.
Or they didn't get through it.
And here is what they will do next time.
Right. No, for sure. It's like, hey, I fell, so you don't have to. And there's a lot that comes from that. And I know I share that on the production side of my stuff, where I tell my guys, look, I failed at this more times than you've tried, in so many different ways. And I'm just trying to shorten your learning curve. So it took me 2 hours or 2 years to get here. I want you to do it in 12 months, right? And kind of, figure those kinds of things out. But same thing, you go back 26 years, like chances are, it's happened. And it's happened many times in many different ways, in different languages, virtually, in person, hybrid, all the above, right?
And we want the event to be great, but we also want that person doing the planning, and oftentimes it's a younger staffer who's been handed the responsibility, and it's a lot of responsibility, it's a lot of pressure, very public. Is the event going to be good? Are people going to like it? And they'll say, you'll see, like, I don't know how someone decides this, but like event planning is one of the most stressful professions, right? And so some folks are trying to do this work and feeling alone. So I just really appreciate us elevating the service we can provide.
Yeah, I think it's people. Like
they deserve it.
Deep sea diver, crabber, and then I think event planner might be second or third.
Combat troop.
I think there might be a couple things above event planner.
We're like fourth or something. No, and it is a lot of cortisol and a lot of adrenaline on event day. We all know that, right? But to have the confidence of doing it many, many times a year is something we can bring. If someone's only planning one big event a year, this is a huge night for them. So we want to support them all the way through, all the way to the loading dock and beyond. We're together on the journey.
Yeah, no, for sure. Then the winter event I love, because it's kind of like, a lot of times we don't have time to have our holiday party or whatever, just because, our clients have events and things are going on and all the things. So that one was our first time being able to join, and it felt like an extended, holiday party with our coworkers. And thank you for creating that space and inviting us in. And I met awesome new vendors and awesome ice cream people and catering people that I hadn't had a chance to work with, and it was cool to see for sure. And then a lot of times just other folks, like I hadn't seen Michael in a while, and it was like, Michael, how are you doing, Mr. Maine? And it was cool because we're generally every Friday and Saturday we're probably both working a different event, and things of that nature. So you get to see other folks in community. So no, that was awesome. And I didn't get a chance to make it to the mini-con this last year, but definitely saw it on online and stuff. And again, it looked like super value added. Like basically it was, like you said, pretty much the four that I know of in terms of other event planners in the city. So it's like, if you're not working with one of these four people, it's like you're probably doing yourself a disservice. You're either working with someone that doesn't specialize in nonprofit work, or you're just not even working with a planner, period.
You're just doing it on your own.
And either way, you're probably doing yourself a disservice. So at the very least, sign up for the classes so you can learn and become better and grow in community. And like you said, if you're doing this annually, just try to, figure out how we can improve that experience on your side as the event planner or team or department, but then also for the event itself. Like, how can we get better? Because like you had mentioned it earlier, like we want to do something that was different than last year. Because I hate when they're like, all right, let's just do it exactly the same as last year because it was great. Like, no, let's not do any of that.
We can always make better mistakes. I'm convinced.
Right.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
And I think it's important to try. And if you keep trying to do the same things, like those vendors that you see at EventFresh, like sometimes we get introduced to them through our clients, sometimes we get introduced to them through other event planners. But like if we did the same thing, we might not be working with some of these amazing small businesses in town that really give them the money. They're great. They're going to take such good care of you.
No, I love that. And speaking of just like vendors and partnerships and things of that, what is that like when you're building experiences with clients? You had mentioned of, talking to them about their intention around budget and just kind of like the importance of, maybe not going with the preferred vendor at said conference or whatnot, but, diving a little bit deeper into what the community has available.
I think that, it's like you said, it's a puzzle. It's always trying to solve the puzzle. And I feel like often you're trying to go back to like, what is the client's capacity? And then where is their mission? And where's the budget? And then how can you meld those things? Because I think sometimes it's okay to choose the easier path. Sometimes it's okay. But if you bring us on, I really love to do a little bit of puzzle piece of putting some vendors together, like people who we know specialize in things. That way you can just kind of create this environment where you're like, sounds going to be great. Photo booth, amazing. Sizzle reel Elite Collective, incredible. You know, if you can kind of pull together a bunch of different people who will, like, quite frankly, it's very fun. It's very fun to get to introduce people and know that the caterer is talking to AV. So that way you can be like, I was thinking of putting my the sound equipment here and the lights here. And they're like, I really need a table there. We got to get them the wine. You know, it becomes this thing where working together collaboratively, where everybody brings their strengths and nobody has a problem with like, actually, I need that space. Can I have that space? Or when do you want that space? Like, that stuff is so, like, that puzzle is a lot of fun. And then you also get I think everybody's going to have a specialty. And when you have the opportunity to let somebody's specialty really shine through, it elevates everything, because then the client team is going to feel great because they're going to be like, oh, wait till they see these lights. And then the vendor's going to feel great because they were a part of a collaboration. And the audience is going to be like, I don't know why I feel this good.
They have no idea, but they can feel it.
I look phenomenal in this amber light. And
yeah.
I don't know why there are ombre tablecloths, but that feels really fun. You know, like, it's just like those little tiny details that we notice and that the client gets to pick. And the audience might not notice it at all, but they'll feel it.
Right.
Like, that stuff is that's the tops. That's great.
No, I love that. The engineered experience where they don't even know what's happening to them, but they, like you said, they feel it.
Yeah.
And I want to say too that a lot of those choices are not necessarily budget additions. It's like, hey, guess what? We'd be renting tablecloths anyway. Let's rent this collection of colors that's going to really bring that energy, right? Or it's, you know, hey, we can replace this with that and it's going to be so much more impactful. So that's another reason I think that it's nice to change things up year after year. So it's just a question, hey, this vendor always brought these 9 things, but guess what? They're actually not that good at 2 of them. So could we please bring in a specialist, use that same money? We're not adding money. We're just adding another vendor, reallocating the budget, and we're going to have, that specialty lighting or that really excellent experience for the guest. So I just want to... we're always working with a budget. Always. There's never a blank slate budget. It's always pretty tight and firm.
I mean, but if anybody would like to come to us with a blank
we're here.
We could do it.
I have imagination for that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And that can bring us into our next segment. We just kind of want to talk about industry trends, future goals. But what trends in events are you most excited about right now?
It's been an amazing year because it's a rough year. We can all acknowledge that without saying too much about it, I hope. But a lot of our groups have had such energizing, beautiful events because they took the opportunity to send out a message like, this is our chance to rally. We can see what's going on. We have answers. We have a mission. We have solutions that we're already delivering to combat the things that we see as evil or that we can all agree are not okay. So join us, stand up, be counted, be at the event, donate, and or be there, you know, like it of course there's a financial goal, but there's also, I think, the sense of, I call it rally when I'm like, oh, this is a gala, but it's also a rally. Let's be honest. Like, we need to gather the people, gather us all with our hearts and spirits together. So that's been like a bit of a silver lining, I think, to all of the stress we're all feeling, is like the events have been kind of off the charts. Some of them, which has been really something to be a part of.
I feel like I'm not very hip to trends. I don't think I'm that cool. I don't really know what the trends are. I know what we get limited to. I know the things that change. And I feel like for me, one of the things that I'm really loving is the heavy appetizer storytelling with food piece that we're getting to do a bunch, where, okay, so we can't afford a whole meal. Maybe we're going to pick an off event time, but we're going to this is going to be people from our community. And it's going to be like really good bites. And we're going to really highlight that vendor. And you're going to be able to come to our event. And you're going to like get to tootle around and you're going to pick one thing from them and one thing from them. And like it just like that sort of storytelling through food, especially because so many of our clients that's very mission aligned, or it's like local to them. I love that. That's my favorite. Is that a trend? That might be a trend, but I don't know that I know.
We have trouble with trends because we listen to our clients more than we like read articles.
No, for sure.
You know what I mean?
And part of it is through listening, like what is the trend? Like you said, budgets are down. Like for us on our side, we're about 30% down from what we saw last year. And that is directly related to what our orgs are seeing in terms of like giving and grants that may have been there that aren't there. And, you know, people just have to get creative on ways to be of service. And like you said, that's what you guys had to do. Like, hey, we still want to do this thing. We still want to, you know, like I said, we might have to do it off time. You got to eat something, right? But it's like, how can we get creative? So that became a trend in terms of we're going to do heavy apps, but they're going to be delicious. And it's like, I love a good meatball. I love a good glazed wing. And we can make something happen.
I mean, charcuterie board is one of the best dinners you can have. Like adult, what were those? Lunchables. Adult Lunchables, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is about making sure you're creating a full experience. So even if we no longer have the formal dinner service, but let's make sure that the experience is something new and different and that it's fully thought through. So it's still going to feel really good. It's like, okay, this is different and I'm loving it, right? Like, oh, this is something new.
I'm on an adventure and I'm still learning about this organization. I do think there's some like, because we're 2025, like 5 years out from the pandemic, we're not very far from everybody having to change everything all at once. And so there's some really cool ideas that people are willing to try now that they wouldn't have been 10 years ago, that really allow for some creativity, for some different ways of telling the stories and different ways of asking people to come to a space and be in a party. It's not as formulaic as I remember it feeling.
I agree. And I think that the extra long dinners with an extra long program with 19 things in a row happening, we're really seeing those trim down, which I think is really healthy. And I mean, then folks can get back to meeting each other. Like folks don't want to sit still and listen to these awards, these auction items, more speeches, another 7 videos. It's like, wow, let's trim that down to maybe half the content. Do the work we need to do the storytelling, do the fundraising, and then let people loose to wander and meet each other. And then they're going to remember that they had a great event. They met some great people, not just like, oh, I dressed up and showed up and I sat down and shut up and then I got up and left. Like, that's not a party. That's not a party.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like forced community service, like dress up, come here, pull up your number, put it down.
And then bye.
Well, that's one of those things that I'm appreciating about conference shifts too. I don't know if we talk about conferences much, but I'm really loving clients for our conferences who are like, protect the breaks, protect them, protect the breaks. Like, because I think that is so much of where the magic happens. And, you know, you're going to a conference and we all know people got to go check their email. They're probably doing a little bit of work during a conference day. Is there a protected space for that? Like, just like thinking of humans holistically and how they're going to be moving through the environment, and really trying to be kinder to like ourselves as planners, our clients as planners, and the guests who are going to be coming in to whatever space we're designing together. I like that.
That's a trend.
That's a trend.
Kindness.
I like it.
Kindness is a trend.
Note it down. A trend.
There you go. Kindness is trending. I love it. And I love a protected break. For me, that translates to also like, you know, making that self-care time, but it's almost like event self-care. Like, are you allowing for organic, you know, rejuvenation to happen at your event?
Also learning.
Yeah.
You have to pause to learn or to let it sink in, because I'm going from like session to session to session. Like, if you don't make the breaks, people just take them, because you know people dip
right
at a certain point.
Like, I am checking out.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Let's go into our next thing of quick fire rounds. These are quick answers and some questions. What's your favorite venue in Seattle to design in?
Ooh.
It's like a favorite kid.
Oh, that is intense.
I got one.
Go for it.
Food Lifeline's warehouse. That's fun.
Tell me about it.
We have the opportunity to work with Food Lifeline on their Dress Down Hunger event, and they turn the warehouse space into their gala space. And it is so many logistics, and it is so cold in there, but like how like you can't get more mission aligned than that.
Right.
And like the logistics of being like, okay, we've got to make sure they're done so that we can set up.
Right.
and I just really feel like lights on shelving is one of the most beautiful things that you can possibly do. Yeah, it's like just being in a really oddball event spaces are very fun for me.
No, I like that. It's it goes back to like for me, like from a production standpoint, a lot of the impact videos and stuff that we create, I always lead with like your story is going to be most impactful if you can tell the story from the story, right? Like let's not book a white psych wall kind of sterile video space. Like where does the thing happen? Can we go to the house? Can we go to the food bank or to the whatever and tell the story from the story? So in event space like that literally does that, and you're like this is the mission, we are in the mission. This is why it's important. That's awesome. Shout outs to them.
Okay, I'll mention one that I actually haven't worked there for a few years, so if anyone wants to go back, I think the Benaroya Hall lobby is really gorgeous. And we talked earlier on about people wanting to spend their budget dollars meaningfully, and I love it when we can support a nonprofit space by renting their space for an event venue. And it's just very grand. I go to the symphony concert and I love to sip my, my little champagne and look out the window at the city. And I'm like, this is so elegant. Yeah. So just a grand, a grand space that's nice and open so you can design what you want to design. And I think it really works for events in a way that some of our other nonprofit opportunities, like renting a museum out or something, they're like, it's hard.
You can't get until 5 and your event's at 6:15.
Hello, yes, no good.
I don't know what you could possibly be referring to, Carlos.
But something like those big lobbies, and I'm curious, like what else could happen around town that maybe other folks haven't thought of using part of their space as an event venue, but there's so much opportunity because people are looking for meaningful spaces to gather in.
And one thing I would throw into that also is the space that you're talking about are super helpful because they're literally made for events. They hold symphonies there. So the logistics around transportation, parking, a lot of that's already been thought about.
There's big bathrooms.
Yeah.
It's clean, it's ready
all those
for
things
you.
are already set up. So I'm thinking them, it pops in my head as STG, maybe the Paramount, maybe something like that as well. And they do awesome stuff over there at STG. Now they have a nonprofit arm. I love that. I wouldn't have thought of it. We did some cool events there, but usually it's related to something happening in the space, in the symphony hall itself, but just specifically for your event.
Picture the lobby filled with dining tables.
Yeah, no, I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. You have that top part as well. I'm here for it. Awesome. This actually taps into one of our earlier segues, but dream event if budget were no issue.
Ooh. No, now you stumped me. No budget, and I'm like, I don't know how to be creative without limitations. I love a budget.
Have me frame it this way: no budget, but then you could pick the cause, and what would the event be? So if you wanted to host a grand ball for cats, or whatever it is, like what would be the cause and what would be the event?
I mean, I feel like for me, the event I do, Event Fresh, it would be fun to have a really big budget for that and be able to. So right now, the small businesses that we showcase, they just come in and donate their services to be part of it, and that's the collective element. But wouldn't it be fun to do that and be able to pay everyone full rate for what they're bringing? And make it bigger and make it more of like maybe a citywide
like at Benaroya Hall, maybe.
Yeah, Benaroya Hall. Thank you. Yes, exactly. That would be perfect. Put it out. And just really and featuring way more businesses too, because I just we can only invite 20 or so each year, and I know there's just way more talented folks out there starting their little amazing businesses with their talents. So that's a little bit of, okay, if I get to dream big, I would actually probably take that and like try to expand it. That would be fun.
I'm not sure which nonprofit this would be for, but I want more brunch fundraisers. I love a brunch fundraiser. I like the mid-morning slow start. I like that you could have a mimosa bar. I like that it could be somewhere interesting. Nobody hates a buffet. I know that I don't have an unlimited budget, but I think I would still do a buffet because then you get to talk to interesting people who might not be with you. That is the sort of event I could do some things for brunch.
I'm liking that. And being that you said brunch with no budget, my head goes directly to Salty's and their Sunday brunch.
Nice.
And I'm imagining it with no budget and all shrimp and crab legs and champagne.
Sounds correct.
That sounds right. Yeah.
So if anyone's out there, we are super down to plan that for you. No, that sounds awesome. What's one of the most underrated detail that you can that can change a guest experience? So what are folks not thinking about?
Well, we always notice when it's bad. Sound. Live sound is hard to do right. And even big facilities or big groups are like, oh yeah, we do events here all the time. You're like, you do events here all the time with this sound system? I'm literally crying. Like how? Because it's actually if we have bad sound, muddy sound, staticky sound, feedback, it's actually painful to the brain to have to take in, I feel like you can be forgiven for a lot of other things. Oh, the stage doesn't look perfect. Okay, that's not going to physically pain someone. But I feel like when folks are trying to trim the budget, talking about budgets again, that's one place where I'm going to be like, no, sorry, we can trim
Spend
a lot
more
of things before you're going to touch the sound.
Yeah.
And if we can spend a little more, bring in a specialist, we will.
I know we've both actively advised cutting budgets otherwhere to increase money on sound. Especially, if we're in an oddball space and there's like a lot of hard wood or metal or glass. Sound, for sure.
And it may not be glamorous, trendy, but it's a core. It's like,
mission critical.
Yeah.
I think for me, mine would probably be, how many things are you handing to people at registration? When people are coming in and they're checking in, like how much stuff do they have to take into their hands? I feel like we're often trying to just minimize that. Like, how do you have like the easiest way of entering? Because if you enter light, I think it changes the guest experience completely.
So not the backpack full of emergency
the swag
materials.
Bag of everything.
Well, when they give a bag, at least it's helpful. But basically, they give a backpack full of things without the backpack, and it's like, hey, carry this.
I mean, I suppose it depends on the event, because I can see events where that would be a very good thing. But for fundraisers, is I think what was
Yeah, no, for sure.
Now, if we're going on an outdoor backpacking situation,
I want
please
the
give me the
backpack.
backpack.
Yes, absolutely.
50 pounds,
I'm
go.
thinking the brunch with the mimosa bar.
Yeah, because you need your hands free.
Both
one
hands.
for the mimosa and one for the...
Yeah, we've done so many the last couple of years where we do the bracelet now, and it has all the information you need, so you remember, what table am I at? Oh, it's right here on the bracelet. Just really, trying to get the hands free so people can enjoy the party.
I love that,
It's
and I
really
love
nice.
a good QR code that, here, scan it for all the information that you need and that kind of stuff. No, that's awesome. What's one timeless design choice and one that you'd love to leave behind?
Ooh. Okay, I'm ready.
Go.
I'm ready for this one. I think, and I know they're not new or exciting, so that's when you said timeless, I'm like, uplights. Yeah. Change the color on the wall. We have it going on right here in the studio. The wash of color is, again, budget friendly. Almost every group can afford to throw up a few uplights around the room, bring the color. If you can change the color during the show, change the mood a little, it really impacts, the central nervous system. What color you're seeing is actually pretty powerful. We think it's just a decoration, but it can be part of the mood and the storytelling and emphasize what you want to emphasize. So I would keep that. I've just, maybe we'll find cuter ways to do it going forward, but it's just so simple and like easy to use. And the thing I want to leave behind is, and I actually just wrote some social media about this recently too, but food that's hard to get. So I have this big trend recently with like the caterers will put up, things that are hanging from a branch, and you're like, wow, I can't get that olive because I'm short. I'm short. I can't reach it. Or maybe I have my arm in a sling and I'm trying to hold my other plate. Like, how am I going to get? So anything that's like over shoulder height, no, put it here. where I can get it because I'm hungry, right? As a guest, I probably show up after whatever day I've had or for brunch, right? I show up hungry. Yeah. I need nourishment. And if you make it hard for me, I'm cranky. I don't want cranky guests. So bring the food to a place where it's accessible. Please. Thank you.
I like that.
I was trying not to do a light one as the timeless thing, but I also have a light since we already discussed sound. But light a stage wash, like a really fully encompassing stage wash. You will notice it in the pictures. You will note, like, I feel like that's another central nervous system thing. Like if the folks on stage aren't well lit and they don't look glorious and they don't look moisturized, like that's not great. So I feel like, because, oh man.
Well, and also for accessibility, if you can see my face, you can understand me speaking so much more easy. Everyone. Yeah, everyone.
Absolutely. And then I think the thing I want to leave behind is signs hung above people's heads. So if you're going to have some kind of display, we can argue about this again. Pipe and sock or pipe and sleeve. We haven't quite. Which one do you, I don't even remember which one I say versus which one you say at this point. But just get empty pipe and drape, cover it with a sock or a sleeve, and hang the signs from there. And then it'll just be like over people's heads. And that way, when people are glancing across the space and they're like, "Where's that activation station?" Ah, right there. There she is. I'm going to walk over there. It's so hard to have like informational signs on easels that can so easily be covered by people's bodies.
People are standing in front of it.
Yeah.
No, that is on point. And yeah, everything you guys are saying are things that, me as another side vendor, not the end client, but it impacts stuff that we do. Like with the audio thing, it is so huge. Like, for us, that was like one of the things that we had to navigate early on with like live stream, right? Where it's like, we have some limitations here, but people will tune into your live stream if they can hear you,
They sure
right?
will.
And if it's low or crackly or whatever, they're gonna, more times than not, they're gonna tune off, they're gonna swipe, they're gonna do whatever, and they'll forgive a not so clear picture as long as the audio is on point. And as we went live, as we went hybrid and into live events, that still holds true. And you can say that to like any
Even
concert
more.
you've been to, anything. Like if the audio is off, you're automatically just, you kind of lose interest. You're just kind of like, it's just, the experience is not what it needs to be. And if you're trying to do something where you want to get the person to give, or there's something that you're trying to get them to do, they need to be put as at ease as much as possible. So everything you guys are talking about, they need to be fed. They need to not be too warm or too cold. They need to, have things that are entertaining, but at the bare minimum, they need to have things that aren't fighting their senses. So subconsciously, they're not fighting whatever it is that you're trying to get them to do. Because it's like, if I'm hungry or this light is being weird or it sounds weird, I'm probably not going to give as much just because I feel weird and I don't feel like giving. My heart isn't as warm, right? All those things kind of play into it. Go ahead.
Well, that brings some, like an audio thing up that we did at the Q-Law Foundation. So when we were sending out that live stream, the number of times we talked about where to place microphones in the room so that the live stream could hear clapping, because you probably both remember early in the pandemic, all of those like silent streams. Not that we did any of them. We did. But those really silent streams, and like how comforting it is to hear some noise, to hear some clinks, to hear some clapping, to hear laughter, those pieces in the room that the guests who are watching from far away wouldn't be able to hear that. And like doing the balance right, thank you. But that kind of audio too, just ambient noise.
It brings them into the room. Like our goal for any kind of hybrid experience is like, what would it be like to be at a table? So I want lines of sight that feels like, hey, I am sitting there. I am watching the same thing that you're watching, but you know, I might have some mobility issues and I'm doing it from home. It was cool to see, mainly during the all virtual stuff, but when folks were like sending out like meal packages, like you could order food from vendors and stuff, and it's like we had this shared experience of like, I'm eating what they're eating, kind of a thing, and people would be in the comments like, hey, did you try the peach cobbler? And that was just an awesome thing to see. But same type of deal, right, where you want to have that experience be there. So having that ambient noise and being able to, you know, be a part of that is so key. And then going into the lighting, you know, especially with our folks when we're dealing with nonprofit sector, especially with Black and brown folks, where you're just dealing with melanated people on stage. We had a couple of times where we weren't a part of like the lighting conversation. We come into space, I'm like, there is literally nothing I can do here. One, the two ways we go bad. One, if there's just no lights, and then two is like, all right, you have like one spotlight but no backlight. So I have dark hair, dark skin on a black background, and there's no separation. It's like, what do you want me to do here? So when you talk uplights and you talk stage, a stage wash, I'm like, yes, these are all the things, the ingredients that kind of make for a great show. And the fact that, you know, obviously I'm coming from it from a standpoint of like, yes, don't cut my part out of the budget, but when hearing it from your side where it is mission critical, because I mean, obviously everyone always sees themselves as the most important piece where I can't do my job without, but it is. When you guys talk about of like, man, if I can't hear you and I can't see you, how can you effectively communicate whatever it is you're trying to say? So that's awesome to hear that is the thing that, you know, that we want to put out there for folks. And I tell that too, like, even if you don't go with me, make sure you have good lighting, make sure you have, you know, 2 cameras. Don't just put one wide at the back of the room and say, that's my iMac or whatever. Like, try to do a little something extra whenever possible. So that, you know, that's awesome to hear from you guys. Excellent. And then my last one is, what is one of the biggest lessons you've learned working as co-creators with your clients? That's a good one. This one might be on a t-shirt. I feel a good quote coming. I feel a good quote coming.
No pressure.
We didn't bring our hats.
If you come up with one first, go in, because I'm like, what's up?
Could you ask the question again?
Yeah, of course. So the biggest lesson you've learned working as co-creators, and this could just be something also of like, what have you learned being able to work with people over time? You know, what have you been able to grow through those, you know, those relationships that you've been able to share with that next client, right? You know, that could be something as well. Like we talked about the monthly conversation you have where you're able to share because of shared problems or things that could be solved. So it could be something relative to that as well, of something that you've kind of been able to grow and gain from working with the client that you're able to apply to a future one.
Well, I'll talk about something that we on the Synchronicity team talk about quite a bit, which is we might have a client for 5 or 6 years, but every 3 or 4 years we get a new staff team at that org. And so one thing we always are reminding ourselves, like, okay, technically this is the same, you know, it's the same name signed, you know, on the contract, but it's a different human that we're actually working with. So something we just keep learning over and over is you have to take the time to get to know that individual, or sometimes it's 2 people that are kind of your point people for that org. And just really taking the time to understand, hey, what's your point of view on this event? Why are you, you know, like, what is it for you? Because it will be different, even though you're filling the shoes of the development director who's recently left. You're the new one. So how can we make this yours and make sure it's reflective of what the direction you want to take your organization? So I feel like we're always reminding ourselves on our team, like, okay, slow down. They weren't here last year. They're not going to assume X or Y or Z, which is a great opportunity sometimes to make change, or it's a great opportunity to slow down and educate, like, well, this is why we did it last year. If you want to make a different choice, let's figure out. So I don't know. We're just always in that. It's a constant, because you know, nonprofit staff is a high turnover part of the workforce. So we're just always meeting new people, which makes it awesome and sometimes challenging midstream, for sure.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I've got anything pithy. I know that I often will take a pause before going into the first meeting, similar to what Alex is saying, because sometimes we haven't seen, if it's a repeat client, we might not have seen them in 4 or 5 months. We have no idea what has happened. And like going in with that, I know nothing. I know nothing about where you are now, if you even want the event to be the same. If you have new guidance, if we're going to transition this event into something else. I think going in as blank a slate as possible is really useful because it'll catch my assumptions. Like the things that I'm assuming about a client, about a venue, about like how we're gonna do this. Like, you know, every once in a while it's like, why do we need screens? What if we don't have a video? What if we don't have a video? Then you could say that you can make that argument about like, let's question why we're doing those things. So I think that open-minded listening for confusion and listening for uncertainty, because I feel like a lot of times when I've noticed people are uncertain, that's actually a great opportunity. Like, I'm not sure what I want, or like you come in with like, it's going to be like this, but it doesn't feel quite right. Like those are like the places where I'm like, okay, cool. That's going to be a zone where we're going to adjust, create, maybe we're going to rip it apart and try something completely different. But that kind of, that's what I feel is really helpful in co-creating with people.
Well, I love that as well. There's just so much, room to grow with folks when you come in with that blank slate. We deal with that a lot as well in the nonprofit sector, where it's like you can't get too used to the way things go because there's shifts, right? And it could be as simple as just a new admin person, right? And they come in with awesome stuff that they did at some other org and might have some ideas or vendors or whatever, and just kind of figuring out, the human interaction part of it. But then also understanding that we do bring value in terms of past experience with the brand overall. And unless you guys have a new mission and new logo and stuff, we kind of understand that part, but then allow them to have their stamp on it, right? And then for us, it always kind of shows up as like, I don't have ego in these things. My thing is like, I want to make you look awesome. I want to make your life easier. I want to make your event amazing. Yep. How does that look? Or how does that look? How does that show up? So it's awesome to see, like, I'm not the only one dealing with that. That makes sense. Everyone is dealing with that as things change. And if you are a new person at an organization, I think it behooves you to at least engage folks that have been there, because one, they can let you know what was that experience like. They can, inform on this is the reason why we did it that way, but also know that, most of them, and I won't speak for you, but it sounds like you just said it is, of course we're going to be flexible. Of course we want to bring your vision to life and see how that shows up, and we're prepared to blow it up if need be, and put it back together the way that it should be, and really go through that co-creation process for folks that like live and breathe this mission-driven organization life. It's like that stuff matters to us, right? You don't get that a lot from some, outside vendors that isn't their focus. They might just be like, we do events here every week, and it could be.
What package do you want?
Right. I have A, B, or C. And it's just like, wait, what? And then I get that lot like, well, how much for this? And I was like, it
what
depends.
Are you trying to do?
Right. Like, what's your purpose? It's not just a camera. Like, what do you want the camera to do?
Also, the more you find out about like what is the problem you're trying to solve, the better we're all able to find a less expensive solution.
Right.
Because if it's something that's like, oh, you're saying you want to do that, but that doesn't make sense to me. What's the problem? Where is the tension? Because I feel like often it gets like a lot of times things will get presented as like, I want this. And why? Always has to be followed up on.
Yes.
I will also just add to like that change in people. It's not just about how the event's going to be created. It's also how you work with different clients. Like some people have very different relationships to email. Some people love a phone call. Like that, how
messenger pigeon, right?
Yeah,
whatever it is.
How you do the work changes even based on people too, based on like their needs, their work style, their conflicting pulls at their job.
For how they need to be prepped for meetings or how they need to be prepped to make a decision. Do they need a week's notice before decision date? Or can they kind of, quick decision, right? Like there's, and that can be a huge shift if you're used to a quick decision maker and then suddenly you're like, oh, shoot, we got to really make time for this deliberation. Yeah.
Even though the crab need to be ordered yesterday, and now we don't know if we can move forward with that. That's always a challenge in a dance for sure to navigate that space. But it's all still fun at the end of the day. It's like, like I said, it's just humans. They need to be talked to and communicated with. We have a client right now where we had to join Microsoft Teams because that's what they do. So
I'm so bad at Teams.
We're learning, and like we literally have like email addresses at their org now. So then we can be a part of their teams and their chats and their things. And it's like, all right, we will figure this out. So I'm with you in terms of just kind of figuring out how is it. Is it in person? Do we need to pull up? Does that benefit? And then from there, can we go virtual or email or whatever? And then for us, it's just a matter of being flexible, meeting them where they're at. And like you said, just being curious, like, what is that? Why? I tell people all the time, it's like, is this even possible? Like literally anything's possible. Just two ingredients, time and money. So if we don't have a lot of money, we need some more time so we can find more creative solutions. And if you do have some money to throw at some problems, I can land a baby elephant in the back of your building with the right permits and things involved. But it's just one of those things, right? So that's why I try to communicate with folks. Like, go ahead, imagine, do all those things, and we'll try to bring that to fruition. Try to, kind of guide that journey a bit and pull back where it needs to be. But yeah, that's generally what it works out to in that co-creation space, for sure. Alrighty. Let's see, what else did I want to get into? I guess this last part, I just wanted to kind of help give you guys an opportunity to kind of paint that picture for that potential organization that's out there. One, who are they? Who is that synchronicity person that's out there? That org, that group, and then what's the best way for them to connect with you guys?
Awesome. Well, yeah, I can tell you for sure that our ideal clients are nonprofit orgs or mission-driven orgs, or it could be a business as well, but just that they're looking at values first. And generally progressive. We really serve the progressive community more so than other types of, you can become a nonprofit for any purpose, right? So we're pretty specific about the type of work that we want to be part of. And generally, if it's a fundraiser, our sweet spot is like maybe there's between 200 and 1,000 guests. That's a pretty big sweet spot, but we're a lot of our events fall in there. And usually our groups at that event might have a fundraising goal between like 100,000 and $1 million. Again, another big sweet spot, but we range all throughout that general range pretty regularly. So we're pretty familiar with all the ways that those kind of events and fundraising can go. We also do conferences and festivals and summits and other purposeful gatherings, I would say. Yeah, that's us. And most of our clients have paid staff that's doing the work. I think we often struggle to really serve well when it's a fully volunteer group, just because we kind of need to meet in 9 to 5 hours. Like we need a little bit of professional edge on things. I'm not saying we actually have a couple clients who are full volunteer and they're great, but in general, that has been a space that we've moved out of just so that we can serve everyone the best. Those are some thoughts. Mira, what comes up for you?
We like really nice and awesome people. Yeah. I find it's really joyful to have fun in the planning process, and I think it shows in the end result. Like, if you come work with us and we're having fun in our planning meetings and we're having fun in the lead up, I think that stuff shows. So, just like, I think can't underestimate the ability of being able to have those professional friendships, as Alex was saying.
Kindness is trending all
trending.
Yeah, it's everywhere. You heard it here.
Kindness is trending. I love it. And what's the best way for people to get in contact with you?
Our website, for sure. I write it. I put it all together. I'm very proud of it. Please visit www.synchronicity. You'll figure out how to spell it. -events.com.
And we'll make sure we put the link in the description and whatnot. That's awesome. And like I said, those are the folks that are served well by you guys. Those mission-driven organizations. Everyone that I've been had the opportunity to work alongside and with is always ended up with meeting or beating those goals on fundraising. The experience is always fun. The food's always good. All those little things are always thought about for you guys. So I would definitely say if you're an org that's like, maybe you've had some kind of situation that you guys have kind of put together, but you're kind of ready to make that leap of like, okay, I think we want something that's a little bit more intentional, that dinner, that brunch, but something that kind of has that thing. And like you said, 200 people, like you might have not realized, oh, wait, we had 175 last year, like at our, community center thing. Maybe we can make that jump and provide more impact and all those things. It's literally a conversation away to figure out how can we do that.
And the key thing that that we bring when we're working in partnership with a client is that we're going to free the staff up so that the organization staff can now really focus on gathering the sponsorships, communicating with guests and table captains and board members, and really focusing on all the cultivation and the relationships that have to happen. And then we'll build the party so that, and the organization can fill it with the right people and the right relationships. So that's really what we bring, is just that peace of mind that like, oh, this is covered. Now we can go forth to the community and bring everyone in.
I love that, and actually it gives me something a bit off script and off of my questions, but just off the top of the head of hearing what you're just talking about now, and then our off-camera conversation around what can we do now. We had a client that's talking about what can we do now in these final stages to get like more sponsorship and things of that nature. I think it might be helpful. Maybe we can go over just quick things of like, what do you need for an event? Right. So you're saying you'd come to a synchronicity to help plan the thing. So that frees you up. Yeah. But what are these other core things that help to lead to success that we need the organization to kind of own and put their effort now that we've freed them up? They don't have to worry about AV. They're going to sound good. They're going to look good. We found them an amazing caterer. Their food's going to be delicious. Awesome band. All the things, right, for the event. What are the things that they need to focus on that can help bring the success to that event?
Definitely sponsorship. So when you have to have time to build these relationships. They're real relationships. It's not just like sending out emails cold. It's like, no, who on your board can get you that introduction to such and such who can do corporate, who's the giving officer at this corporation, and like kind of work. It takes time. That takes a lot of time. And it's something that our team doesn't do because we want it to be the organization's relationship. So we're hopefully freeing up staff and maybe even board members as well, where they're like, oh, we don't have to worry about the party. The party's planned. Now we need to go out and get the funding, which is a lot of the sponsorship work. And then also doing the pre-cultivation, we might call it, of people that are going to come and make a gift at the event. When you hear like, oh, the Fred Hutch Gala made, $12 bazillion. Guess what? That wasn't just people who showed up and had a great time and decided to donate all that money. It was planned in advance. Someone called them months ago. They've been working this relationship. They've been having that conversation. It's all work, and it's relationship work. So that's the part that we don't do because we don't want to represent the org in that way in the community. But that's exactly what it is. It's just taking the time. Anything you would add, Mira?
I suppose in addition to sponsorship, and it's a very similar workflow though, audience development, filling your room. People are going to come to your event because somebody that they love or respect or admire really loves or respects or admires the mission of the organization that you're supporting. And it's like a personal whatever. Phone call, text message, carrier pigeon, Google Calendar invite, like that work takes time. And even dividing up that work takes time. It's like organizing 101. You've got all of these board members. Have they invited 30 people each? Did it happen? Did they follow up? Did people buy the tickets? Did the board actually buy their tickets? Because that's never, it's like there's so much work getting people there. And it's lovely when we can help provide the container that just gets filled with great community, good money, good people, successful event.
And the other thing, one more thing that organizations
can
do,
more.
this is the last thing, is
On
that they
t-shirt.
can really get their storytelling in order, right? They can really look and talk to community, figure out what are those powerful stories that are going to come in either as a video content, which we know Elite Collective can assist with, and or that person that might be able to come on stage and do some public speaking and bring just bring it home, like bring it home in our bones of like why this is the truth and why we want to be a part of it. So that's work that takes time as well. Communications. Yeah.
And also it gives you more time to build a relationship with the actual speaker. That one-on-one coaching time, even we do rehearsals, and we'll often do rehearsals with you, but the pre-rehearsal work of the right people, like the general order we want to have things. And I love it when we can get to our first rehearsal and have at least a rough cut of the video, so we know what it's going to feel like, where we want things to go. That just helps so much. And videos take time. Yeah, no, that's real. And fantastic segue, but yeah, no, I think having that storytelling part is huge. Like everything you guys talked about is super important, because if you don't have anyone in the room to watch your video, to eat your food, it doesn't matter, right? And we're just kind of here. We get a couple of photo booth photos and we go home. But having that time for cultivation, I think that's the importance of reaching out. Like people hit me up and I'm like, oh, awesome. Who's your guys' event planner? Oh, well, we don't. Hold on. First off, why are you even contacting? Thank you for contacting us. But really, you guys need to figure that out. Either it's someone on your team, and then there's some classes that you can join once a month to get better at it if you're at a position where you do need to do it for whatever reason yourself. But hopefully you're at a point where you do need it and you're ready to engage an events company to help get it there. But then now you are freed up to do those other things, to do the sponsorship work, do the phone call work. So often you kind of hear, like, I think there's like an expectation that it's just going to magically happen sometimes for folks that haven't done it a lot, Yeah. And it's like, we need to work in conjunction with. And like you said, our number one superpower is just freeing up time for you. Our number one superpower is us, of you having faith that we are going to get it done. We are going to show up for you. And all this side of the ledger is taken care of. Don't even worry about it. Come to the tasting, make sure you like it. Yep. Everything else, done. And that way you can focus on those things. And then coming back to that video part where, a lot of these events are annually, right? And it's unfortunate sometimes we'll get hit up, some months in advance, and it's like, oh, hey, we have this event. Are you free? Yeah, sure. Awesome. And then it's like, oh, we need to shoot this video. Oh man, I wish you were with us in March when this amazing thing happened and we could have captured it. I'm like, I wish we were with you in March as well, because that would have brought it all together. And but what happens is then the next year we do get to be with them in March, right? And that happened with us with NAM, where we were able to do some pre-storytelling stuff and capture stuff throughout this year. So this one coming up, we were with them at King Day. We were, with them at Juneteenth. We were there for Black Santa, and we're able to capture all those things, and it's going to be a part of their storytelling. And then Bird Bar Place, right? We got to do some awesome stuff with them last year, but that was our first time working with them. But then from the amazing gala that happened, and from my understanding, I think they did it once every 5 years. This was the first year of this particular group even doing it, and it was supposed to be just one off for their 60th. Then it was like, it happened, and being that they hadn't done one in such a long time, they're like, we want to do it again. And then when they reached out to you guys and they hit us up, and they're like, they wanted us to
capture all their events throughout the year. So we were at this health fair that they did, and this Black Birthing Initiative, just like 12 people in a room, but come and see the work that they're doing, and then come to the food bank and, you know, block party and all these things. But now we're in a position where we get to do some storytelling, and just being able to be a part of that holistically is awesome. And we could just have just a better impact the night of the day of. So it's like engaging with your vendors in other ways. You know, same thing with you guys, where it's like, it doesn't have to just be a gala. It's like, what are the other touch points? You know, like I tell people, like, you have to at least have 4. Have your main event and have something else quarterly that you're doing something that you're touching your folks. If it's just like, hey, here's a day of volunteering, we're going to all go to the park and do a thing, or whatever it is, but they can be engaging with you guys of like, hey, here's our end goal. What can we do creatively to engage throughout? And it could be a fun little brunch of maybe it's just the board members or whatever.
Brunch dream.
Right. Yes. We're going to make it happen. We're going to bring it. We're going to plant those seeds in the universe. But of ways that they can engage with you guys throughout the year. And then it just makes the gala happen more organically. You guys are more in sync, right? As those touch points.
I have actually recently started thinking, I don't know if I've even shared this with the team or with any clients yet, but I've been thinking about the gala as the birthday party. And I'm like, okay, I want all my friends at my birthday party, but these other friends I go skiing with, or these other friends I go swimming with, or these other friends I go hiking with,
or these other friends hate a birthday party.
Yeah, and they're not going to come to the birthday party, but I love them still, right? Yeah. Like, we're still connected, but like, I don't know, just thinking of it as like this whole seasonal cycle of how you're connecting to your community is I don't know, just trying to find the right metaphors, but
right. No, that hits. Like you said, like everyone is that a gala isn't for everybody, but your mission is for more than you think. Right? That could be a way to kind of frame that. And it's like, okay, how can we reach people that are aligned with your mission outside of the gala?
Yeah.
And so, no, I do love that. And we shall explore that with some folks to see how we can pull that together for sure. And I guess, I mean, we've gone on. You guys have shared so much. I'm hoping folks out there are getting some value. You guys kind of spoke to the awesome work that you're doing. I don't know if you're hiring, but if you are someone that wants to be in event space and are aligned with awesome people that like progressive events, definitely hit them up and see what they're about. But also community out there. You know, if you're looking for a partner in event space, you know, definitely check you guys out. The link will be below and all that good stuff. But no, thank you for, you know, sharing some of your stories, some of the awesome work you guys are doing. And obviously we're going to be seeing each other soon on events that we're doing. But just no, thank you for sharing. I appreciate this time.
Thank you for inviting us. It was a very fun email to get.
And a very fun conversation to have. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, we are wrapping up. Alex, Amir, if you could remind us, actually, sorry, this is a code readout. I'm going to start that over. We're going to do a code readout. Alex and Mira remind us that unforgettable events don't happen by chance. They're born from intention, alignment, and care. Whether you're designing for 30 guests or 3,000, Synchronicity's work proves that details build legacy, and we're honored to share space with them. At Elite Insights, we elevate, amplify, engage, and we'll see you guys next time.